Hi, I'm Kaylene from the Lightworkers Way, and I'm joined today with the fabulous Moira. Welcome, Moira. Thank you for being here.
My joy, Kaylene. Thank you for interviewing me.
So, what I was hoping to get some insights about is when someone sits down for a reading with you, what can they expect?
Expect the unexpected, I think.
Ooh.
Generally, I would hope that they could expect a very warm, caring, but pragmatic reading. My guides tend to be fairly straightforward. They do have a bit of a wicked sense of humour, so they do like to have a bit of fun. But they're very, very straightforward in the messages that they bring. So they generally provide very clear, practical guidance for people. Um, I use numerology and psychometry when I do my readings. So, psychometry initially helps me to connect in very quickly to the other person's energy, so that again, I'm given insight into what the readings will be about. Often, if there's particular questions, I do encourage people to ask them right up front. By
Mhm.
the time they build trust in me, we're usually halfway through the reading. Readings generally are around 25 minutes, so that's very short.
Yeah.
And so by the time they feel trustworthy enough to ask me the questions they really want to ask, we tend to run out of time. So I do ask people up front if they've got a question, to bring that forward.
Yeah.
Often, though, that's what I'll pick up in the psychometry. So often I will get, the number of questions they've got. I will get an idea of the sorts of topics that they're really keen on from that. Um, Often, again, sometimes it will just be the psychometry. If there's a lot to talk about around there and they do have specific questions, it will come through that. Other times where it's just a more general reading and they're just coming for the fun of it, then we'll go on to the numerology. And I work around their date of birth. And I look at that we say that we work in 9 yearly phrases. So each personal year has its own resonance. And so I look at the past 6 to 12 months and
Mhm.
what's been happening. So again, they have a feeling of building trust around that we've got an actual picture of what's been happening in their life. And then I look at what's coming forward for the next 12 to 18 months from there. I can also look at compatibility. So it's often fun, again, if there are relationship challenges, often that's around timing, and what each person's vibration is doing, and whether that's compatible at times or whether that you might be in a little bit of opposing time frames where you just need to be mindful of each other. And so, again, looking at that in a reading can be quite fun as well. I often joke, my grandmother is very strongly one of my guides, and she was very into real estate. So I often joke she's my real estate guide. So I'll often be given things like renovations,
Mhm.
um, or if people are moving, I'll actually be given details around what that's like. I'll often get to work with new people coming in. So if there are children around, they will often show up in a reading as well. But what I love particularly around the numerology is that it gives you a sense of timing. And
Mm.
so it gives you a sense that there are patterns in your life and that those patterns have a real meaning. And so again, it can be really helpful around that sense of right timing for things that are happening. So that's why I love that combination of psychometry and numerology. I sometimes will finish off with cards because again, I do tarot and angel cards, that sort of thing as well. And again, sometimes astrology will come in. So I use a form that I actually write on and give information. Then I give that to the person as they leave as well. So that's the general flow that I was given to read with when I first started reading, and that's. But it depends. I know if I'm going to calculate the numerology. And 3 times the calculator doesn't work, I know there's mediumship to come through, and which is really funny. That's the way my guides play with me. And so, again, I know that there'll be a mediumship message that has to come across first before they'll let me go back to the numerology and doing the calculating. But again, I hope that I offer very pragmatic and practical readings. I like divine timing. They're not very good at telling me that. And so I like to ask that on behalf of other people because I know how important that can be. And the numerology is a lovely way to get that sense of right timing in readings.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you have different the psychometry, then the numerology as well. There's questions that they can ask and get that up front. That's good. I love the connection with that. But the fact that they don't let your calculator work to go into mediumship, that is
It,
wonderful.
it is so funny the way that that happens.
Yeah.
Like, the calculator works.
Yeah.
They just don't let it happen. So
And
it's very fun.
and it really sounds like and then you've got your cards as well, your oracle and your tarots as well. And it's like if someone comes to you, it will be a unique experience for them because you'll be drawn to different parts depending on their questions and what you're doing. So
That's,
they
that's
may not get all of those four things in one reading, but they might.
yeah. Again, that's why it's important for them to, if they've got questions, to ask them up front and
Yeah,
to bring that forward. And because again, I'm just the channel, I'm just channeling through what spirit's messages are.
yeah,
Um, what I love is that often we'll find that there are patterns. So often when you're reading at an expo, you'll have people come through who've got very similar numbers. There's often a theme to a day, which is really interesting. And yet, each person might be in the same personal year, but the readings are very unique and very different. Again, that's the real strength of spirit coming through. I tend to work clear audio mainly, so mainly messages through hearing. But I then ask to be given a vision. And so tuning into that clear visual so that again, I can describe things to people, particularly around, changes, real estate, work, that sort of thing.
yeah.
And then kinesthetically, if there's anything either physically or energetically, because the body holds energy, there's anything that the person is holding on to on the emotional plane, it will often show up. I will feel it in my body. And then once we've talked it through and it's cleared, then it will release out of my body. So that's where I know that, yep, we're on the right track with that. So I will tune into a person as well to look at them from that holistic perspective as well.
That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Moira. So, if you're interested in some psychometry, numerology, maybe learning a little bit more about your body as well, real estate, come along to a Lightworkers Way event. You can find out about our events on the lightworkersway.au website. And if you want to have a reading with Moira, definitely get in there soon so that you can book in early because we do have limited spaces. So thank you for being here today, Moira.
My pleasure. Thanks, Kaylene.